Okay, Hawa.
Hi, Dr. Susanna. Thank you for, having me today and Jessica as well too, and your mom, and happy for sure to meet all of you. And I know hope everyone and the families and relatives, they're doing well. Time has been tough for all the human beings globally. Here for our families, our neighbors has been tough as well. Across the globe for our family members overseas have been tough as well too for the last 3 years. And we just blessed we survive, all of us. So we're here, and we still guys doing amazing for sure. And thank you, Amnesty International, for always being keep fighting and keep giving a voice, as we believe that the voice is such important for any times. And then the crazy world is still crazy stuff continuing to happen, and the violence are continuing to happen. There was no peace, there is no justice, and that's crazy. That's truly, truly crazy, affecting all of us as individuals, as a communities, as families. That was tough, and for me, for being here for the last almost 8 years, and I'm activist and the social justice activist and a women activist. And I came to this country for the last 8 years to receive the International Women of Courage. And that was so blessed because I survived. And I feel the time you're giving a voice for other people as well is the same. You can survive so many people across the globe. And I'm a witness for that, for being giving a voice, for being raising the issue of the human rights, raising the issue of the violence against women, raising the issue of gender equalities, and all of that, and the peace and justice. This is such important to all of us, and I just keep doing it. And I believe that this is a non-stop journey, non-stop mission, that we just have to keep doing it until we will see the peace and the justice and everywhere. And in Sudan, I'm a survivor of genocide as well too. In the 2003, the government of Sudan trained kind of militia, call it the Janjaweed. So Janjaweeds and the government as well too. So they train those kind of horrible militia, and they carry up the genocide against my people and against my family as well too. There is so many survivors and so many people who has been killed ethnically, and that was horrible. Over 400,000 people has been killed in 2003. And since then, there was no peace, there is no justice. The situation is continuing to be crazy horrible, until the 2019, last 3 years. So the people in Sudan as well to raise the issue of regime change. So the horrible regimes of Khartoum for the 30 years regime has begun for the last 3 years, but it's still the same situation. The crimes are continuing to happen, the violence against women continuing to happen, the arrested against the activists and the women leaders are continuing to happen as well. There is no peace happen even today. There is a lot of initiative from the US government in terms of peace and justice in Sudan, but nothing happened. Still nothing happened. It's still the same situation. Nothing has been changed. Yes, the 30 years Islamic fundamental regime has gone because the people spoke up, the people has been raised their voice, but then in structure, political system is still the same. Nothing has been changed. That was crazy for sure. And it's still affecting us. So my family member for the last 17 years, they're still in the refugee camp. Until today, they're still in the refugee camp. That was crazy, horrible. Imagine for a thousand of those young people who are being born in the camps. Imagine for those who are even survivor, have been in the camp for the last 17 years. There is no peace, there is no justice. This is horrible as well too. The people always talking about the never again and never again and again and again, but fortunately it's keep again and again and again and again as well too. And we can see, you know, what's happened to Ukrainian women and the children as well too. This is horrible. The world is just, it's horrible for sure. But we're still asking for, you know, the activists, you guys, continue to giving a voice for what's happening. And I hope that Amnesty International as well too could raise the issue of Sudan again, especially Darfur as well too. The situation is still the same. There is no peace, and the activists continue to be targeted. And the political situation, nothing has been changed. Unfortunately, all of us witness about, you know, the economic crisis for everywhere, even here in the United States, the inflation is horrible. But then those who are, you know, in the genocide survivor, that is still facing the same situation is so tough. And the government of Sudan before has been changed, which is in the 2009, even expelled all the nonprofit organization that they've been providing the food and some kind of help to the people in the ground. Today, there is no nonprofit, there is nothing. The UN peace mission has failed in Sudan completely. And still the crime continues to be happening. Those truly painful for me, like an activist. And I'm so glad that I became a citizen in 2019. But then my family, there is still a struggle to, it still hurted me as well to still, you know, I still paying for what's happening for sure. And still asking people to give a voice for those who are left in behind. And we definitely need to give a voice for Sudan and give a voice in the humanitarian issue, give a voice for the women, human rights crimes, and the rape has been used in Sudan for the last almost over 25 years as a weapon. So as a weapon to destroy community, as a weapon to destroy the history of the people, to destroy the women. And that was truly, truly affected so many people. And unfortunately, international justice is still having, nothing happened. So al-Bashir, who commit those all crime, over 400,000 has been systematically has been killed. And so million of the refugee camps, there was no justice until today. Fortunately, those criminals are still free. Nothing happened in terms of the justice as well too. So we truly, truly asking for you guys to give a voice for Sudan as well too. And we would love Sudan to be included in, you know, the letters that the Amnesty International group has been writing and sign it. So to be included Sudan and Darfur as well too. And the good things, yes, we are, you know, people, and I believe that we as a people, we have a voice. The Congress should listen to our voice as well too. So our voice can make a change, but then we have to keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing. I believe it. One day the justice will happen everywhere in the world. It's take time. Even I believe the activists were exhausted as well too. That's true. The activists themselves, we're exhausted because we are every day hear about these tragedies and the violence and all the suffering and all the pain. So we are also pain. Our body is truly, truly paying for this pain. And they imagine like me who have their family, it's my own family is still paying. So and on top of being an activist, I'm still also paying for what's happening to my family and my people as well. So nothing happened, change.
Have you thought of bringing any of your family out?
As you know, there's a process, there's a legal process for sure. And yeah, and I'm definitely have been working on that for so long. but
Oh,
it's still
really?
nothing happened. For the last almost 6 years, there is no any immigration process has been stopped. There is nothing moving.
Okay.
And but definitely that is one of the things, because the people who are still there, it's like the future is unknowing,
Right. Yeah, right.
especially for those young generation who are being born. They completely lost
Right.
because they are hopeless. The people are hopeless,
Yeah.
and bringing hope, even all this happening, if the generation lost even hope,
Yeah.
is tough again to to restore the hope.
Yeah, I know that the situation's pretty awful in Ethiopia as well. I mean, I'm hearing awful things in Ethiopia and in Yemen, and of course, it's still going on in Syria. One thing is we're hearing that this blockade and theft of wheat by Russia is causing famine in all around the world. Is this happening in Sudan? Are you hearing from your relatives that they're not able to get the food they could before? Um, do they in the refugee camp that you came from? Do people grow food, or does it all have to be donated?
So I came from farmer family. So my family are their farmer. But unfortunately, for the last 17 years, since our village has been destroyed, and then we lost everything, the people came, all of them, in the one place, which is in the camp. So this is now is a harder time for the people to going back to their farm, because those militia, they control it, the people farm. And it's not an easy for the people. It's not safe. It's not just an easy. It's not safe the people to go back.
So they can't grow food in the refugee camp.
Yeah, because there's space. There was no space in
Because
the
when I
refugee
went to Zambia, this is one thing that they were doing in the refugee camps. They were absolutely self-sufficient. They were growing their own food, and they were even able to sell it. So I mean, it's a very different situation because
It's truly different.
yeah,
It's
in
truly
Zambia,
people.
yeah, no one was trying to kill them in Zambia, but in Sudan, it's dangerous. I mean,
Yep,
that
it's truly in danger. So some of the women, the family, they believe that because there was no food, there is no organization, there is no way people just have to face it and go back to the village so they can grow some of their farm. So those who are like putting their life in the risk and went back, those who are continuing to be everyday beating, killings, and raping, and all of that. But then people sometimes they're feeling like nowhere to just stick here in the camp and
yeah.
have no any resources of income, and there was no food and there is no organization. So sometimes they just going back, they feel like this is like a death because you are there, but there is nothing there.
So where does the food come from in the camp? Does that come from the Red
So
Cross?
before there was a lot of nonprofits, and there is a UNDP, and there is a WFB, which is a World Food Program.
Sure.
They used to distribute a lot of food before, but then for the last couple of years, because things there spell those organizations. So the people trying to go back to the village. So those who are able to go back and stick there and grow, and then they bring some of the stuff. That's why, yeah. But it's very tough. It's very tough. If you say, if you see in the hunger, it's increased,
Yeah.
truly increased. The people has been, their health has been changed, their face has been changed because the food is not even sustainable. It's not a healthy even. It's not enough.
So
People have not enough food.
at the moment, it's worse than it was 5 years ago. It's actually worse in
It's
Sudan.
worse, especially now, because the
Oh,
economic and the world economic is effective everything as well too. So especially Sudan, it is crazy. It's just truly crazy.
Well, if we were to write letters, who would we write letters to? And
I think we will write letters for all the Congress.
And what to what?
And all the Congress to act in Sudan, acting in Sudan. The humanitarian should show, there is no humanitarian. The government of Sudan should allow it. Now the government, even because there is the military government and the militia government who are controlling to the country now. So they should allow the organization, they should allow the UN agencies, they should allow those people who are bringing the foods and the basic needs to the people in the camp. And also Congress should push it, the government of Sudan, to those perpetrators and those who are commit those crimes. They should face a justice.
You see, but this of course was the problem in Afghanistan. I mean, because the people in control are really nasty people, and they don't want to give anything to the people in control because they will take it and not give it to people anyway. I mean, they're not, when the people in control are very interested in genociding a population.
So before Bashir regime has been controlling Sudan for the 33 years.
Right.
But then in 2019,
right.
the Bashir regime has been forced by the people after, a huge demonstration and huge rallies.
And the young
but then the power went back to the military as well too.
I see.
Yeah.
So I see. So he went down, and for brief moments Sudan was okay, and then the bad people came back.
Yeah. Yeah. That was terrible. That was truly terrible.
God.
Those people who are coming back in the power, they never helped those people.
You see,
that's why if you see the Red Sea every single day, there was so many African immigrant has been dying in the Red Sea, crossing to the Europe illegally way.
Yeah.
Because Africa is crazy. What's happening? That's why the generation, they feel like they're in the darkness, the future's unknowing, there is no hope. It's only hope to put their life in the risk so they can survive in Europe, or any country in the Europe.
And if they get to Britain, they're going to be deported to Rwanda. And the minute they get to Rwanda, all their money is taken away, because the British give everyone they deport to Rwanda a certain amount of money. And that money, the minute they land, it's stolen from Rwanda, and they're kicked into another country. So the whole situation is just a disaster.
It's just crazy. It's just crazy.
But part of the problem too is because there's this huge war now in Ukraine. So many resources are being used to try and stop Russia. And it is a good idea to stop Russia.
It's definitely Russia should be stopped.
Right, because if that continues, the aid to Sudan and other countries will be even less than it is now. It's very important to stop Russia.
Yeah, Russia should be stopped, because Russia before the war, Ukrainian war as well too, he used to support the Sudan regime.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, Russia is horrible. Russia is truly horrible. Should be stopped.
It's interesting because if you look at a map and you look at all the places that are at war, it's like, my gosh, there's just so much going on everywhere. It almost seems like that's, peace is unusual.
That's really crazy.
It's like that's what we want. We want to be killing each other, which is just shocking.
That's really crazy. That's really. Yeah. That's why I feel so many times, I feel that we need women to be in front line. When the women become in the power, I believe that this crazy happening is going to reduce,
No, are you an American citizen now?
Yes.
You can run. All right.
Now I'm a citizen. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm citizen now, and and I'm citizen now, and I'm so blessed, so I can giving back to the community. That's why I started as well to becoming a financial professional. So now I'm teaching and empowering community about money, how to save, how to make, and how to become independent more financially. So Yeah.
But that's always what you've done, is teaching. I mean, you were doing that in the camps, weren't you? I mean, you're just a natural.
I did a lot in the camps as well too, but I believe so many times you can make a difference whatever home you've been, you know,
Yeah.
and that will be blessed as well. The United States is my second home,
Yes.
and also survived my life too. You know, so many people fought me to be survived. So when the Sudan government, you know, sentenced me to the death, and I was just been waiting the day. So United States and the people in the United States survived my life for sure. And that's why one of the gifts that's you have been gifted, you know, God is giving us our gift. So we have to give to other people as well too. So
Absolutely.
I'm now fighting so I can giving back to the community where I am as well too. And Pennsylvania is one of the states that I owe for sure a hope for the people as well.
Yeah.
And I want to empower people for sure now financially. That way they can have more, so we can give more to the world who really deserve to give them. You know.
Yeah, we really are in a unique position, but there's a lot of people trying to ruin us. David, do you have any questions for Hawa?
Hello, David.
It's lovely to see you.
Okay. Hello. I just
Oh,
had a little time available, so I thought I'd tune in.
Yeah.
Um, well, how are you doing? What are you doing here in the U.S.? Are you a financial analyst, or
I'm a financial professional and a retirement specialist now. And for the last 8 years, I've been working at a law firm. And I just been shifted during the pandemic, and I became financial professional. I'm now teaching and empowering community, and to know, you know, how the money works and how to protect and how to save. And I believe that pandemic was a huge, and it was tough as well too for so many to survive,
yes?
and the hardship that the people gone through. So I'm now empowering people and teaching people of you guys. If you want to know more, definitely I will love next time. But this time is about Sudan and you know what's happening. And thank you for guys, what are you doing? You know, as a Amnesty International, there is a lot we could do and to raise the issue of human rights about the justice and injustice and peace. But then definitely you are also a human being and you know you have your own lives as well too. We don't want you to live behind too, you know. We
Yes, of
want you two
course.
guys to live behind as well too. You are giving to the world, but then we are also can you know remind you as a human being as well too. You have you know your expenses, you have your needs, your a future. You never know about the future coming, so
You know,
we are also giving awareness to the people.
it occurs to me we can do something.
We can do something for sure.
Oh,
Hi,
wait
Dave.
I have a question for you
Sure.
also as to whether Sudan takes wheat from Ukraine. Does Sudan get food from Ukraine at all?
we were asking.
You mean before?
Yeah, that was food exported from Ukraine to Sudan, or not so?
I never hear about this. I'm not sure. I'm truly
Okay.
never we never hear about this any before for sure. Yeah.
So people, at least the grain is coming from inside Sudan that people consume. You follow? You
What do
follow me?
people eat in Sudan?
So
Yeah.
the people eat what the people eat in Sudan?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah,
Sure.
so the people eat the most of the time Sudan is very agriculture, you know, country.
Yes.
Most part of the Sudan, they are farmer. So like 85 of Sudanese, they are farmer.
Yes.
So we have like Darfur, which is a Western Sudan, is going through all that stuff time, but there is a lot of part as Darfur as well, the people is still growing there, and
Yes.
they're farming. And so we still have a Eastern Sudan, which is a huge, huge, huge in Sudan as well too.
Yes.
They still planning. So we had the West, we have, so the most of the people in Sudan, they're truly farmer. They're farmer. So
So
Okay.
are the harvests adequate? Like, is Sudan having to bring food in from other countries? Or is the rain enough?
So Sudan is not very developing country but they still growing, and they still have a neighbor. They have exchanging with a neighbor, Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Sudan is surrounded by 8 countries as well too. We had Central Africa, we had Libya, we had Chad, we have Eritrea, we have Ethiopia, and then we have a new South Sudan.
Yes, yes.
So, and the good things in Sudan, we don't have any legal border. So each of these African countries, they can go without any,
That's interesting.
Yes.
without any bordering.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah, there is no border. Like South Sudan is still border open. Maybe Ethiopia is still border open with Sudan. And
Yes.
then Uganda is still also border open with the South Sudan as well too. So it's very simple people to go. Libya as well too is very easy, and then the Central Africa as well too.
It occurs to me there is something we can do. Writing letters. We can write letters to the British government, getting them to stop deportations to Rwanda. I think that would be very helpful.
Yeah, that's definitely to respect those people, because most of them are survivors. They have been in the camps, they growing up, they graduate from college, and there's no job. There is no job, there is no opportunity for them. And then the life is tough. And then young people, they just decided to go and die or go and survive.
I'm hearing that Russia has been recruiting Ethiopians for the Russian army because there's no jobs for Ethiopians. So I mean, it's very cynical, and but that's, of course, the Ethiopian crisis is different, but it's the same thing. People are just playing football with Africans. But the Rwandan deportations, it's interesting. There's a lot of discussion about it in Britain. Like, some people think it's a good idea and some people think it's a rotten idea. Today in the Times, Prince Charles, who of course is the heir to the throne, he's saying it's a really bad idea. And the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, is saying, well, I just have to explain it to him. And it's like, oh. Boris Johnson could well be on his way out. I don't quite know why he's still there. But there's a lot of controversy in England, and it's, I'm hearing on the BBC just the corruption that's going on in Rwanda. As I said, they land there, and the officials in Rwanda just take all the money that the British government has given to the deportees. So there's all kinds of I mean, it's absurd. I mean, you don't deport refugees to another country on another continent.
I know. They became even the way they reached to United Kingdom is so tough.
A long way.
It's a long way.
It takes them months. It takes
so many months. The way they escape, maybe years too.
Yeah.
Because they have to go through Libya, they have to go Egypt, and then it's a lot.
We had a Sudanese gastroenterologist in Philadelphia who didn't work at that. He was entirely an activist in Philadelphia. His name was Dr. Adam. And I heard that he died a few months ago of COVID.
Yeah, Dr. Adam.
Yes, very, very tragic. But I went to a conference he organized in 2009. He got all the different people in Sudan together in a room, and they had a conference, including people from the UN. I took a whole lot of photographs. I could probably find those all. Yeah. But it's interesting. There's so many good people who really try, and Oh dear, it's
Well, I'm happy to draft some letters. I have no problem with that.
you're
So,
really good at that.
Beautiful, thank you. Thank you.
Dear
Yes.
British
Really
government,
huge, yeah,
dear
definitely.
British government, stop being absolute
Yes.
idiots and cruel. This is absolutely appalling. This is not the way you treat refugees.
well, I'll have to call them wankers. Stop being wankers.
That's right.
I have to use their language.
Throw it back at them.
Right.
So all right. Hawa, do you have anything else to say before I stop the recording?
I think so far it's good now, so we can definitely talk as a normal.
Okay.
But if any of the team, because we want truly Amnesty International to get more attention about Sudan for sure.
That's right. Okay. So we're going
Yeah.
to have a letter about stopping the deportations of refugees, and we'll think of other things too.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Hawa.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciated you guys having me, and I truly appreciate it for what you do every day.